Hello, everybody. Welcome to class tonight. We are going to talk about karma, and we're going to understand more deeply about how it works, but also how it's evolving. Our karma is changing because humanity is evolving. Earth has ascended from a third dimensional planet to a fourth dimensional planet and is continuing to ascend to a fifth dimensional planet. And during that process, during that 20-year span from 3D to 5D, humanity is being really squeezed and really challenged to evolve and ascend as well. And while we are raising our level of consciousness, while we are attempting to evolve, and during that process, while that's happening, there are other things that are quote unquote evolving as well. We will be experiencing karma differently. Okay, so let's first understand, for those of you who may not be well versed in karma, I'm sure you've heard of it, and you might not know too much about it. Let's understand it first, and then we're going to move into how it's evolving for us. Okay, so the first thing to understand is what goes around comes around. That's simple. A lot of people don't understand the depths of karma, though. And that's what I want you to understand. It's really critical that you understand the depths of it, how it really, really works. So simplistically, we can say what goes around comes around. But in human history, really what that meant for the most part was you had reincarnation after reincarnation after reincarnation to kind of experience what you've earned. Okay, so if you caused a lot of negativity, a lot of harm, you were violent, you were a cheater, you did a lot of negative things, you didn't necessarily experience the debt. You didn't have to pay off the debt of that necessarily in that lifetime. For people who are really unconscious, unaware, not connected to their divine aspect, they don't have divine sight, it can really look like life is very unfair for a lot of people. Because then in another lifetime, you reincarnate and you are a really good person. You work hard at trying to be loving and loyal and fair. And it just seems like life is so unfair. You keep getting punched. It's like you're being kicked while you're down. And a lot of times you're paying off your karmic debt. Those are not the only things that are going on, by the way. But in this discussion, we are going to isolate for the most part and only talk about the way karma works. Okay. Of course, other things overlap. Your soul's mission, what your soul wants you to accomplish, what you're attracting, depending on your vibrational frequency. There's a lot of things going on at one time. But for tonight's discussion, we're going to focus only on how karma works. All right. So you had lifetimes before to really get it right. So you would pay off a karmic debt in a next lifetime or over 10 lifetimes, possibly. And of course, the same thing is the positive karma, the positive consequences that we earn. So you do really powerfully selfless, loving things. And yes, that comes back to you. Absolutely, it does. And it's easier for that type of karma to come back kind of right away, over time, again and again. But we are here in the Earth School to learn, for our soul to grow and expand. Earth is a classroom. Okay, so you're here to learn, which is why one of the reasons why the law of karma is something that we function in, whether we're aware of it or not, or whether we understand it or not. Okay, so to go more deeply into karma, it's really what harm did you cause? That's key. So you won't necessarily get your karmic return, your payback. What goes around comes around. When it comes back around, it won't necessarily be in an identical way of what you did. Okay, it might not be. I'm going to give some examples so that you understand, but it might not be identical. That's why sometimes things are, I don't understand what's going on. I don't understand what's happening. And it's karma, but you don't recognize it because it's not in the same form of the harm that you caused to somebody else. Okay, It's not the same action. Let me say that. It's not the same action. Okay, so let me give you an example. Let's say that you're in a committed relationship and you cheat on your partner. And then as the relationship goes on, you have a really great relationship, you really love each other, you get engaged, you get married, you have a family, and you have a great relationship. You really love each other. Your relationship is wonderful. But you cheated early on. Your partner never knew, partner never found out, and you would never in your life do it again. Maybe it's a scenario that you got together pretty darn young and, you were reckless, you were still selfish, and you made that choice. Okay, so which means you created energetic harm to somebody else, whether they are aware of you cheating or not. You created energetic harm. You created betrayal because you were the one that betrayed. You were the one that lied, right? So because you weren't faithful, you betrayed somebody. What's going to come back to you is a form of betrayal. Okay. And that might be a friend, a family member, somebody that you never in your life thought, or that you always thought would have your back. Maybe you have a job that you've been loyal to for the last 2 or 3 decades, and you made a mistake. And you're human. Of course, you've made a mistake on your job. It's really not that big of a deal, but you got fired for it. And it's like, I've been so loyal to this company for 3 decades of my life. I'm fired over this with all the amazing work I've done, how loyal I was to this company all these years, and you're going to fire me over this? That is, you're receiving a form of betrayal. It's like your company betrayed you. Okay. And that betrayal is the karmic payback for something you chose to do when you were younger. Okay. What goes around comes around. So if you created or caused or acted out betrayal, you will experience that in some way. Now, I gave you the example in this example that the partner who was cheated on never knew and never even found out. Oh, what we don't know doesn't hurt us, huh? Well, it doesn't mean you're not creating karma. How are you actually showing up in the world versus how you like to think you're showing up, right? That is precisely the work that we teach at Masters of Self University, in our Mystical Life Coach certification program, in the coaching that people receive as clients. How are you actually showing up versus how you like to think you are? Because we need to shine the light on the ways that we are showing up when those ways cause harm. We are moving and evolving into the new golden age of harmony. We've been in centuries of harm, and we have to awaken to how we, each individual, causes harm in order to actually evolve into an age of harmony, that we can actually be harmonious with things in the world, with each other, with our jobs, with our family members, with our communities, right? Which means we have to learn and understand how we're causing harm. So the deeper aspect of karma is really, what harm did you cause? And that, even seeing that and understanding that, takes an elevated level of consciousness, because it's the willingness to see the harm you caused, and the consciousness that allows you to see beyond what mind can understand. In the example I gave, well, no harm was caused. The person didn't even know they were cheated on. They weren't hurt by it. And yet, look at what you did. You betrayed, you lied, you cheated. Right? And when we realize the energy that we created and we put into the world is that of lying and betraying and cheating and sneaking around and a lack of trustworthiness. I mean, the list goes on and on. That's what you're putting into the world, because energetically, that's what you chose to do. That's what you've created. That absolutely causes harm on the whole planet when that's the energy you're putting out into the world. And so that harm is the karma that's going to come back to you. Okay. Now, how we're evolving in karma is we're shifting into quote unquote instant karma. That's not totally accurate to say that, although it can be. But really what that means is same lifetime karma. No more are you coming back in reincarnation, life after life after life, and experiencing the karma, good or bad, that you've earned. You will experience it in one lifetime. That is the karma that we are evolving into. That is the quote unquote instant karma. Really, it's same lifetime karma. Some of it can be instant though. It really can be. But that's the karma we're evolving into. So the old karma, and the new karma, so to speak, how we function in those ways are going to overlap for a while. There will still be both, because some people, it's not possible for them to pay off their karmic debts in this lifetime, for example. It is not even possible. So those people who will reincarnate will come back, and they will have to pay off their karmic debt. Absolutely. So that's going to continue until there's no more of those, right? For everybody else who's healing and elevating and reaching higher levels of consciousness, your karma will happen in the same lifetime. Now let's understand how we cause harm. Okay. So when you do something, anything that is less than loving, that is less than peaceful, okay, anything that is less than those vibrational frequencies, you're creating negative karma. So if you decide to be aggressive or get defensive or judge or attack, you're creating negative, harmful energies, and you're putting that into the world. You are offering that to other people that you direct it towards. If your partner wants to talk to you about something in your relationship that they are upset about or frustrated about or hurt about, and you get defensive, defensiveness, the deeper program of defensiveness is selfishness, because I'm turning what you're sharing, what you're in a vulnerable state, what you're trying to share with me, I'm turning that around, I'm cutting you off, I'm not listening, I'm getting defensive, and I'm making it all about me. Selfish program. Another deeper program that's connected to defensiveness is the low emotional IQ. You have a very, very low emotional IQ. When you get defensive when somebody wants to talk to you about something, you get defensive, low emotional IQ. It's an inner child wound. It's a young child throwing a tantrum because I'm not emotionally strong enough to handle anything you're saying. So I'm going to get defensive. I'm going to bulldoze. I'm going to attack. I'm going to run all of these programs. So what am I doing to this person? I'm making them feel isolated, alone, not heard, not understood. What I am not offering are the ways of oneness. I am not offering things like patience, presence, right? How could I ever be in patience, be in presence? How can I offer compassion to this person in front of me when instead I am offering defensiveness, selfishness, judgment, attack? Maybe I'm being critical, maybe I'm name calling, which means I'm now being abusive